Hey guys, in this video now we're going to be covering the seated mount. So it's a position that looks similar to S mount, so we'll talk a little bit about it, but how we actually get into the position could very much be from the opponent's mistake of pushing too much when you're on mount, which happens a lot because they don't want you on mount. So if I am over here, I'm going to put him in this angle so we can see a little bit. Whenever I'm in mount, first of all, in mount I always like to be high up underneath the person's frames. But that's not an easy task sometimes. So if he goes ahead and he has his frames inside, I tend to lift my knee off the ground. So that's going to force me to kind of lean to the left a little bit on my base over here. So normally in mounts, I'm kind of on both knees, so I can balance on both knees. But if I'm going to take a knee off the ground, then I'm going to make sure that I lean to my left. Not only do I lean to my left, but I make sure I close any gap that he can use to escape. So if you see my foot out here, it's very easy for him to get his knee underneath and then start looking for that simple elbow escape idea, right? But if I lift my knee and then tuck my heel inside, it'll be a lot harder for him to create that space. So a lot of times the opponent gets a little impulsive and they start pushing a lot. So I do have a kind of a trick here, but if you push back on his push, that's what allows him to create the space he needs. So if he's pushing and I'm pushing back, it feels like nothing to get that leg inside his half guard. But if I loosen up this limb, if he tries to push and I don't push any further and he starts extending this knee maybe with this left hand, if I can just open up the knee instead of pushing back, he's not going to create any space. He's just moving the joint pretty much. And then my foot's anchored on the floor. If I start pushing him with my knee, then my whole leg acts as one unit. And then he's going to be escaping right away. So if I feel that he's impulsively still trying to escape and I feel him pushing and he's pushing and he starts opening his backside pretty much, I'm going to be closing that gap. If I can find a way to get my partner to take his back off the ground and I can close that gap, then I'm that much closer to his back. So from here, that same hand that I'm posting with is going to help, but I'm going to tuck my heel in close to the stomach and I'm going to slide upwards to this position over here. Notice how he's sideways. If he's sideways in this position, let's go back a little so we can see. If he's sideways in this position, I kind of want to keep him there. So a lot of times the gift wrap is a good grip to make, so it's harder for him to put his back on the ground. But sometimes they don't like seated mount, so they put their back on the ground immediately. And then this starts to become a good opportunity to start looking for your S mount and your arm bars and things like that. So if he pushed, push. I tuck my heel in. I'm using this left hand and I'm sliding upwards. And I'm using my hip and everything to kind of stop him from putting his back on the ground. But if he does, of course, I have an answer for it. I would just go straight to S and stuff like that. From here, I can start looking for his back, which we cover later on. But there's a lot of ways to take the person's back from here.